Thank you.
All right, the 12th of February has been designated the UNICEF Red Hand Day. It is to give attention to the plights of children recruited to fight wars as child soldiers. Thousands of boys and girls are used as soldiers, cooks, spies, and more in armed conflicts around the world. In this report, senior correspondent Jacqueline Ogo takes a look at UNICEF's effort at handling the ugly trend and the health implications it could have on the children.
Thousands of children under the age of 18, referred to as child soldiers, are recruited and engaged to fight in armed conflicts across the world in what has become a regular routine. Some are allegedly abducted, threatened, forced or manipulated by militants to submit, while others give up their freedom due to poverty. But UNICEF says the recruitment of children by rebels or militant groups is a grave violation of the child rights and international humanitarian law. No reason is acceptable for such act. According to UNICEF, between 2005 and 2022, more than 105,000 children were recruited into armed conflicts. In 2018 alone, it says it links children and families to mental and psychological health services, catch-up educational classes, and vocational opportunities, responding to the needs of more than 13,000 child survivors. To find out the mental and psychological effects of the recruitment of child soldiers, I went after a consultant psychiatrist of the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba, Lagos, Dr. Obatomi Alalade.
Most of the time, child soldiers are probably abducted from their family members, or sometimes they are threatened, or it could be due to poverty, from their family not having so much money, so they draft them into being child soldiers, which are usually less than 18 years of age, and that could lead to a lot of psychological and social impact on the children and their family at large. But we are focusing more on those children and how it affects their life. Initially, there could be something like social isolation. You are being taken away from your family, and so you are left with new set of people that you don't know before, and so they could initially look at some form of social isolation, being away from family, being away from loved ones. Apart from that, over time, experiencing war or being drafted to war can lead to a lot of anxiety problems. So the individual is scared, is hearing the sound of guns, is hearing people cry or seeing blood, so that could lead to a lot of anxiety in the individuals, a lot of trauma. Then during the whole process, over time, if they, while going through the process of being child soldiers or even after then, they could also come down with some depressive symptoms, They could start feeling sad, feeling hopeless, think about it that there's no future for them again because they've been involved in so many crimes or atrocities. There could be nightmares, there could be hyperarousal, like they start having a lot of, their heart is beating fast, they are scared, they are afraid. Some could find it difficult to sleep.
Dr. Lalade, we are talking about children who have gotten into using bombs, gotten into using very dangerous weapons in whatever form of class, coming into the society to live side by side with people who don't know anything about such arms. Do you see them bringing in criminality?
As being a child soldier sometimes could involve looting, killing, stealing, and then lying, and over time increases crime rates in the individual. So by the time they are being rehabilitated, if it's not done properly, it increases criminality amongst them. So it's very important that the whole process is done rightly so that crime rates in the society would also go down.
According to the psychiatrist, after freedom from captivity, girls recruited by rebellious militant groups to fight wars could come up with far-reaching mental, psychological, and marital challenges because of the trauma they received from being constantly raped and forced to take part in the torture and killing of people.
Apart from the rape, also if they get pregnant, in terms of giving birth to the children, it could be very traumatic. Again, apart from that, they could also go through depressive disorders because they are not happy. They are just being forced doing what they don't wish to do. So they could become depressive, sad, lose hope in situations, and ultimately they could even think of attempting or committing suicide. They finally get married to someone. A lot of patience is needed in understanding those individuals, especially if what they've learned all through their life has been a life of criminality or a life of not knowing other thing more than some life of crime and war. And so that integration process is quite very important because their personality also might have changed, and if it's not well managed, that could affect the home. So whoever they are with must be very understanding. They also must be very willing to keep going through therapy sessions, which would then help their home or their family. Failure to do either of this could lead to a crash of the marriage, and definitely could even affect the children that comes out from such marriages.
The tough experiences are known to take a heavy toll on the child soldiers' relationships with their families and communities, as people relate with them in fear and suspicion after their freedom. The mental health specialist has just made it very clear that child soldiers must be integrated and reintegrated into the society to avoid social anomalies. That is to say that countries experiencing militant aggressions like Nigeria must take note. Jacqueline Ogo, TVC News, Lagos.